Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
There are 3 regular season races left in the Truck Series here at Racing Revolution, and we're at the mecca of motorsports, Charlotte Motor Speedway, to decide one of them. Just before a bye week, we have Jeremy Burns dominating the points coming into today, but this mile-and-a-half racetrack is one of the first that you will have on the service. Anybody could get a win here. Will we see 7 on the season for Jeremy Burns? Will we see a new time winner in the season? For the rest of these drivers, it's a limited list of only 6 people that have found their way to victory lane. But live here tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway, it's the Coastal Financial Truck Series presented by Racing Revolution. Welcome in, everybody, to our coverage of the KSX Pit Barrels 225, I believe is the name we went with here. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and all season long we've been bringing you flag-to-flag coverage here on Vspeed. Jackson McGeorge, Michael Reed, Grant Thorpe all having a big backing here. It's playoff format, and these drivers are in that top 12, the cutoff line right there just below Trevor Earhart, plus 10 on that mark. Then you have Kyle Diaz, minus 10 in 13th position. Tough break for him last week at Nashville Super Speedway. Of course, this playoff picture could change dramatically, but you still have some guys that didn't make it last week in the top 12 in points. Morgan Cook falls down to 10th after being in 8th. Justin Ritchie gains some positions. Grant Turner with his victory. Trevor Keith, Michael Reed, Alex Forget, Berube all have a victory, as does Grant Thorpe. And then it's Jeremy Burns with 6 wins. Dakota Floyd maintains his 3rd place with a podium there, I believe, last week. And Wednesday got a podium in the Cup Series. So Dakota Floyd's starting to hit his stride as we go towards the tail end of this regular season. And with the bye week there, it's going to give these guys a break, some time to go back to the drawing board and figure out what they have to do to get to the top of this point series. The schedule, just talking about preseason, there it is on the screen. Kansas and Daytona, the last 2, and then we go to Old Atlanta. That's going to be an asterisk because this track not on the NASCAR schedule anymore, obviously. It's very much a throwback night, and hopefully Old Atlanta doesn't throw these guys for a loop. It's a track that is definitely used. It's definitely old, and you have to go back to 2023 to find the surface that was on that racetrack as they were repaving it. But New Hampshire, Homestead, Dover, all of these elimination races all the way up to Las Vegas to finish out the season. So it should be interesting in itself with just that track map up on the screen. Opened June 1st, 1960, and 24 degrees of banking on this 4-corner quad oval. Concord, North Carolina is the backyard to a lot of NASCAR teams, a track that everyone is familiar with. And race analysis on your screen, 150 laps, pit road speed limit 45 miles per hour. Tire sets available will be at 4 with 75% fuel. Stage at lap 40. That's another important part of this playoff system. So these drivers will have to work with that as well. But with that, it's time to go trackside. Get the grid up on your screen. And 21 cars going to start out here tonight. Dakota Floyd with a 29.481. He will be your pole sitter starting tonight with Alex Forget Berube to his outside. Row number 2 goes to Justin Ritchie with Jeremy Burns in 4th position. Then it's Nick Alves and Jackson McGeorge in the 98 in the 6th spot. Row number 4 belongs to Michael Call, Tyler Harrison in 8th, and the top 10 goes to Chris Nail, Caleb Gilbert in the 54. 11th goes to Cody Anderson, Trevor Keith in 12th, 13th Grant Thorpe, Michael Reed in 14th. Halfway through this field, we'll keep that grid going on the bottom of your screen. But live here tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway, 3 races left in the regular season, and here we go. Coastal Financial Truck Series is live at Charlotte. Number 1 with a caution, Grant Thorpe involved. 3 trucks involved, Caleb Gilbert, Christopher Schaefer on the front stretch through the quad oval. Made it 1.5 miles before an incident and heavy damage on the 23. Already crashed here on this replay. We'll back it up a little bit further. Looks like the 3 have called, tagged the apron, caused this stack up. So about 5 different trucks involved in this. Let's back it up one more time. 20 truck got loose. Let's see if we can get a better angle of all of this. Through the grass there for the Yellow Wafers number 3. Jump ahead. Both these trucks got loose through 4. And That created the stack up. It's right on board with Caleb Gilbert. So already some problems to start this race off. The top 5 really hasn't changed hands at all. 1 position gain for Justin Ritchie on that initial start of this race, and the 6 truck will be to the outside. But Dakota Floyd maintains the lead. Maintain on position for Jeremy Burns. Alex Forget down a spot. And then Jackson McGeorge gains his way to the top 5. Nick Alves, as we had just popped up the ticker on the left-hand side of your screen, crossing that start-finish line. Dakota Floyd leading the first lap. He'll get a few more lead. But the 57 looking bad fast so far. Gorilla Glue 57 Silverado looks like he came to play today. I think if we just keep mentioning here on Vspeed that Dakota Floyd is winless, it's going to motivate him to get to victory lane. Probably, you know, not the best way to make friends here on the broadcast booth, but sometimes you got to call a guy out and get him going. I know that the 57 is capable. He definitely has had the speed this season. He's led some laps. He's led a lot of laps. Had that 57 up front for a lot of these races. But it's really been Jeremy Burns, the story of the season. 72 has really done a great job of, I guess, capitalizing on every situation, every scenario he's been put in. And the Ingenuity 72 is in the 4th position for this restart. No reason he couldn't go up here and snag the lead away from the 57. Just have to wait and see under green what he can do. But we're racked back up after running approximately 6 miles here today. And just shy of that, 7.5. I don't even know the math on that. Half a mile. Somebody help me out. I'm forgetting that half mile. Yeah, it's 6 miles. I had it right. Start number 2, lap number 5. Green flag is out. Back underway at Charlotte. Lloyd kind of aero blocks his teammate there, Justin Ritchie, running in the 2nd position. They're side by side back here with Nick Alves. Just behind him, Ryan Comer to the bottom. He's trying to get around the 20 of Cody Anderson. Ella Wafers tags the apron. That is Michael Call. He just had a problem there a moment ago. Minimal damage for the 3 truck. But from 10th on back, it is a cluster of trucks. And here comes the 91 of Michael Reed trying to get around Call. Ball will cut off the nose and a dive to the inside. It is chaos back here for 10th. Justin Ritchie holding his own against Dakota Floyd. Gets a big gain out of turn 4. See if he can run to the bottom here down the backstretch. He will get another good run. Will he take it inside? Does he give a bump draft to the 57? He thought about it there. Holding close. 57 and 6. Alex Forget lurking in the background here. Top three have spread out from Jeremy Burns. Gotta wonder if they're burning up their stuff. There's Tyler Harrison just behind Jeremy Burns. And all those drivers that's had a lot of success in the truck series. We've had a couple chats with him this season on some podium finishes. And Harrison trying to find his way to victory lane. He's had some opportunities. Tonight could be the night. We only have 3 races left in the regular season. You got to get it done. Playoff points going to be oh so important. Side by side here with Jackson McGeorge, the 3 of Michael Paul looking to the bottom. Almost 3 wide here through 3 and 4. A peek to the middle. That was Cody Anderson in 8th, looking to the center. And back out of that situation, gets right up on the bumper. Reed almost forced him 3 wide either way. Here comes Michael Reed for 8th position. Jackson McGeorge, maybe a 2-for-1 special. Reed on the move now in the 91. Oh, and he barely slots it in there, just in front of McGeorge. That was a close one. We got to go back and take a look at that. Barely clear there for the 91. The inside again here for the 91. Looking to gain another position, the 6th spot. Jeremy Burns has fallen back to 5th. Tyler Harrison has gotten around him. Justin Ritchie has taken over the lead. And we missed that pass, so we'll go back one more time on our replay. Here's the 6 truck getting around the 57. And a quick move there to the inside, quick work. As Floyd will fall back about 0.3 of a second to Alex Forget Berube. Side by side continues back here. 72 of Burns. Now fighting for 6th position. Reed on the outside. High Noon 98 lurking as well. 2x2 for about 3 rows. And 22 of Travis Gilbert on the tail end of this, trying to get around the 21. Comer. Ritchie getting some laps led here. 16 in, 15 complete. Side by side for 2nd spot with Forget to the bottom. Alex Forget has a win this season, looking to make it number 2. There's only one multi-time winner in this truck series. And as I said, tonight could be one of those races where we see a repeat winner outside of Burns. He's fallen back to 5th. He's fought off some of these guys back here with Michael Reed still trying to pass on the outside. But outside of the caution we had on lap 1, it has stayed green since then. The initial start a little bit rough, and we're starting to settle out, spread this field around. Here's some side-by-side with Parker Johnson. Trevor Keith just behind him, looking 3 wide there. Trevor Keith in the 15 on board with him. Running in the 13th position. We'll look to the inside of the 23 of Schaefer. The pinch down here from Schaefer. Going to keep that 15 down on the bottom. Keith to try to advance one position back to where he started this race at 12th spot. He's got it by a nose here down the backstretch, but the outside a little bit faster off the exit. Schaefer holds on to the position for the time being. Down low here through 3 and 4. Keith keeps it down on the white line. Just not able to clear. It's got to be frustrating there. He finally gets the spot. Dakota Floyd has taken back the lead. Alex Forget has fallen back to the clutches of Tyler Harrison and Jeremy Burns. So Floyd went on conservation mode. Richie got some laps led, and now the 57 back to the top spot. Dakota Floyd has now led 11 laps as he comes out of turn 4, and we'll change that information right about now. So at 75% fuel, these drivers somewhere around lap 35 are going to come down pit road. As you see Tyler Harrison putting the moves for third place on Alex Forget. Couldn't quite get the nose in there through 3 and 4. Doesn't have the momentum here for the exit. We'll have to go back to it here as we ride on board with the 45. Back bumper again. Good run out of turn 2. Does he take it to the bottom? He will. And he will get side by side with Alex Forget. Can he clear him? He will. Tyler Harrison up to third. Top 5 changes hands again. Harrison up 5 positions from where he started, getting some help from draft. 72 going to try to follow him around the 19. He will do so. Jeremy Burns in conservation mode to start this race off. But now that we have a long run, this is where the 72 thrives, on board with Burns. Third place on back. Starting to get heated. Actually, second place is now in the picture. Dakota Floyd trying to run away. 9/10, almost a full second of a lead as he goes into turn 1. It does go over that 1 second threshold. Burns is going to have to try to chase down Dakota Floyd as we approach green flag pit stops. Richie gets a little bit loose, maybe a little bit tight, not sure, but he pushes down to the bottom of the racetrack and forces the 72 to the outside. How long can he contest? Not very long at all, as he'll come down pit road. Here comes the 6. KSX pit barrels on the outside. He avoids them. Into the stall perfectly there for the 6. So does this force the hand of the rest of these drivers to come in for a pit stop? 8/10. Burns a little bit faster than Dakota Floyd. Back here with Trevor Keith and Cody Anderson. The side-by-side continues for the top 10. Jackson McGeorge, who started up front in this race, he was outside the top 10 for a moment. There's a look at the 98, clawing his way back to 9th position. Justin Ritchie now back out on the racetrack, has Grant Thorpe just in front of him here. No, it's the 54 that he's going by right now of Caleb Gilbert. But it's 21.9 seconds to catch back up to this lead lap. But with the short pit, I'd have to say Justin Ritchie's going to get some more laps led if we stay green. A brush on the wall there to the entry of turn 1. Dakota Floyd holds on to the lead. Lap 29 coming up on 30. Shaved off a 10th, but gave back a little bit of time there on that last time by. Dakota Floyd so far has led the most laps. Jeremy Burns up 2 positions from the 4th spot. He was as far back as 6th at one point. You look back here with Tyler Harrison and Michael Reed. Reed, another one of those drivers that can get it done, just has to keep his composure. He had chased down Jeremy Burns just a week ago, got within a 10th or 2 of him at Nashville Super Speedway. Very close race to finish that thing out. He has the 45 just in his wake here. Get back here to Ryan Comer, Trevor Keith. Battle for 9th position. There's Ritchie going by on the outside. He will cycle out to be your leader if we continue on this green flag trend. 31 laps complete. Rocket ship there for the 6 on those fresh tires. He's going to go back and get his lap back the old-fashioned way. One of these pit stops tonight, well, you're not going to take tires based off of the math that I'm seeing. If you're Justin Ritchie, you're going to come down. You're splitting this race up into 4ths like he did there. He pitted at about lap 24. Undercut will work initially, but for how long? I mean, the fall off on the lap times is almost 2 seconds at this point. I'm hearing some drivers on the clutch pedal. I think it's Tyler Harrison. Michael Reed. Somebody's on the clutch pedal here. I heard it. So that lead has not trimmed down much at all here. Dakota Floyd last time was a 10th slower. But then he makes it back up really quickly. Through 1 and 2, stretches that lead back out to a full second. His teammate on the inside get his lap back at lap number 35. How long do they want to let Justin Ritchie run away here? About 0.8 of a second off of Parker Johnson back here in the 16th position for Caleb Gilbert. All these trucks starting to fall away from this field. Travis Gilbert, Michael Call, side by side for the 6th spot. Call gets into the wall. Holds on to it somehow there. No contact between the vet to track 22 and the Nilla Wafer, number 3. In turns 1 and 2 now. Lap 37 underway. Jeremy Burns is taking over the top spot. I think a problem here for Dakota Floyd. Maybe a mistake was made there. a mistake happened way before this moment. Lloyd, I don't know what happened here. Unless he's trying to save fuel. Yeah, I think he's... I don't even know. I have no idea. I try to keep up with this as best I can, but I think Floyd's trying to save fuel. There's no other reason for him to lose this much ground this quickly. He had a 1 second lead, now back to fourth, and a truck merging back into traffic here. A lot going on. Alex Forget also on the bottom of the racetrack, 3 wide through 3 and 4. Nick Alves on the middle there. Something is going on here with the rest of this field. '23 of Schaefer back out onto the racetrack, 1 lap down here. And Reed up into the wall because of the 23. And I think Jeremy Burns is on the clutch pedal. He is. Caution is out. Parker Johnston down pit road here. Dakota Floyd had just hit pit road. I think he ran out of fuel. Floyd has to coast to his pit stall. Is he going to make it? He's going to end up losing a lap because of this. He's going to have to hit it perfectly. Caution comes out at maybe the worst time imaginable here. And that's the stage lap that Dakota Floyd was trying to stay out. These guys were trying to make it to the stage. And I think Jeremy Burns ran out of fuel. Looks like Michael Reed is going to help the 72 to pit road here. Everybody coming down pit road now. This is interesting. It was a close battle on fuel all the way through. We got some black flags for maybe speeding on pit road. No, we're cleared out. Passing under yellow for a lot of these drivers. I guess stage win goes to the 72. He just barely made it. So Nick Alves will have the lead, and because of this fuel strategy, Dakota Floyd's going to have to get his free pass, as is Parker Johnston. A lot has changed in a short amount of time because of fuel and trying to push it as far as they could go. Don't go anywhere. We still have plenty of racing left to be done here for the Coastal Financial Truck Series, presented by Racing Revolution. More coverage of the KSX Pit Barrels race at Charlotte right after this.
Supercross champion Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams. Welcome back here to Charlotte, where Nick Alves came down pit road and a few others. It's Travis Gilbert and Michael Reed still trying to sort this all out, but the way the fuel fell, everything changed, and we've got a lot of cars that got wave arounds or ended up a lap down. Parker Johnson, Dakota Floyd still trapped a lap down because some of these guys did not come down to pit. And it's going to be the 22 and 91 for this restart. Michael Reed with an excellent jump here to get ahead of this field. '72 had run out of fuel. He's back in the 13th position. A flip-flop with the top 10. It is all over the place here. Justin Ritchie, who got some laps led earlier, he had come down pit road, the shortest of all these drivers, convinced he wasn't going to make it. And they tried to stretch the fuel run as far as they could here, but they had to stretch it out an additional 4 laps, and that's a tall order for all of these guys. Just barely able to do so as the 72 got that stage win. He's back up to 10th now. The rest of this field has left him. There's the 57 of Dakota Floyd, who tried to stay out as long as he could, a lap down. Trapped himself a lap down because of the way that stage fell. And loose here for Michael Reed. Michael Call all over the back bumper going down the backstretch. Battle for the lead continues. 91's loose off of 2. Here comes the 3 of Michael Call to take over the top position. Who'll have the momentum into 3 and 4. Another lead change here from Charlotte. The third to last race of the regular season. Loose for the 3. He's going to hold on to the lead, but what a slide off of 4. Chaos continues from Charlotte. Cautions, 5 lead changes. Michael Call will lead his second lap of the day as he got back around Michael Reed, Gilbert, Ritchie, Diaz, the top 5. Trevor Keith, Grant Turner, Gilbert, Caleb Gilbert, Jeremy Burns, and Ryan Comer have that top 10. Dakota Floyd praying for a caution to come out here. Hopefully he's not involved in it. As he'll peek to the outside of Parker Johnston for that lucky pass position. race within the race right now. They are on lap 51. Complete on lap 50. The rest of this field on lap 52. Strategy in this race has just not went the way of some of these guys. The caution that flew extended that run a little bit and helped these drivers save enough to make it to the stage, but you saw Burns needed help. Michael Reed pushed the 72 machine back to pit road. But because of that, kind of flipped this whole field, and here's the top four starting to accordion back together. Jump back here on board with the 7 of Grant Turner, another one of these drivers with an onboard race cam. Just behind Trevor Keith, we rode on board with him just a moment ago. All of these different strategies coming into play as you saw a pass for second position. Travis Gilbert and Michael Reed side by side for that P2. Side by side will continue. Travis Gilbert not able to pass on Reed just yet. They're allowing Michael Call to pull away about half a second now. Just under 100 laps left to be completed from Charlotte. Paul, Reed, Gilbert, Ritchie, and Diaz, the top 5. And how about that for Kyle Diaz? Up 12 positions, up 13 for Gilbert. Two of the biggest movers of this race so far. Those positions lost goes to Dakota Floyd. Floyd started on the pole here tonight and has not been able to get back on the lead lap. The caution, lack of cautions, and the way everything fell put the 57, even the 72 behind the 8 ball. And it's a fight for some drivers we haven't mentioned in victory lane yet tonight. Michael Call could get his victory here tonight. Michael Call 20th in points coming into this race. But it's a win and you're in scenario. He needs to get it done tonight. So there's a chance that we can have the 4-time up in the broadcast booth as we watch this battle start to pick up for the lead. Michael Call starting to feel the pressure from Michael Reed. Reed will go to the inside through 1 and 2. A defensive line from the 3 to hold him at bay, at least for another lap. Call has led 12 laps so far. Gilbert is also accordioned back up here. And then you have Ritchie, who led some laps in the initial start of this race. Top four right on top of each other here as Reed will look to the inside again through 1 and 2. A little bit loose there off the corner for Reed. Almost let Gilbert get to the outside. Gilbert will go low through 3 and 4. Four-way battle for the lead as Richie is sitting back watching this battle. He's going to get closer and closer as they go side by side for second. Lap 62 complete. Call holds on again. Here comes the 6 of Richie for the third spot on the high line, running on a racetrack. The 3 tags the wall. Reed's going to take over the top spot. A pinch through the quado will not going to be enough. And here comes the 22 of Gilbert, 26 of Diaz. A little blink out there briefly for the 15. He's in the middle of these 2 packs of cars. The 7 of Grant Turner leading that second group from 7th position. On board now with Kyle Diaz in the 26. Contact with the wall there, not enough to slow down Justin Ritchie. He's going to go for the third spot. Gets to the high line of the 22. Travis Gilbert pushes up the racetrack a little bit here. They're going to run out on the exit of turn 4. Contact with the 6. Ritchie gives him a door shot. Peak high. 3 is getting tight through 1 and 2. It's going to check up Ritchie. He's going to have to give him a shove here through 3 and 4. Choosing the high line. 6 wants to take it 3 wide. He will not be able to, and that allows Gilbert back into the picture. High line move. 3 defending again. And he does run out of racetrack that time. 26 is around. 22. What a save there from Justin Ritchie to keep it on the racetrack. But Kyle Diaz involved in this one on lap 68. Going into 3 and 4. This is where it all comes apart. Contact with the wall from the 6. 22 comes down, touches the 26. Sends him sideways just enough there. And the action kind of back and forth. We saw a caution there at the start of this race, and now we have the 4-time champion in the Cup Series in the broadcast booth. It's Rob Rader up here with us. And Rob, this race has been turned on its head twice now. Kyle Diaz, an early exit now after that contact with the outside wall. We're coming up on pit stops halfway through this thing.
Yeah, Bradley, I've been watching here on Vspeed. You guys have been putting on an awesome broadcast here so far, but yeah, it's been an exciting race. A little mix up in the strategy so far. It's been really cool to follow. At this point, I really have no idea who the favorite is to bring home the checkered flag tonight.
Well, in the pre-race, we talked about how this is one of the first tracks you get on the iRacing service as we watch Michael Reed win the battle off of pit road. Justin Ritchie, who almost got turned there on that last caution, will come out second. Michael Call loses a position because of this. But because this is one of the racetracks that you get as soon as you join the iRacing service, it makes it a little bit more difficult for the usuals to stay up front because all these guys have kind of an equal playing field.
It's not something I really considered before, but now that you mention it, it's actually a really good point. I mean, all the way from the very beginning, you run street stocks here. It kind of runs like a super speedway does, you know, Daytona, Talladega in those cars. And that's kind of the entry point for this racetrack in iRacing. And then it's run in every single series beyond that. So, I mean, like you said, most of these guys have been racing on this track ever since they first got the service. And, yeah, you know, interesting perspective there, Bradley, because it's all starting to make sense why you see, you know, Michael Call having a great run tonight. As just an example, I mean, these guys have time on this track for sure.
Yeah, and this kind of fits perfectly for what Michael Call would have to have. He is 20th in points coming into tonight, so a victory here would seal the deal, get him into the playoffs, a win and you're in kind of scenario as we hit that choose, and the 91 going to elect to start on the outside. Justin Ritchie with a little bit of left side damage after getting tagged and maybe some right side damage from that wall. We've seen the 6. He's been the only truck that kind of figured out with that caution extending the fuel run on lap number 1. The 6 was already committed to coming down pit road around lap 23, 24. And now he's reaping the benefits of that. He was one of the faster trucks in the top 5 to start this race.
Yeah, I've been pretty impressed with Justin Ritchie and also Dakota Floyd. I know he kind of got caught on that caution there, but I mean, those are two guys who have really shown up and just kind of gotten better every single week. And the 6 cars had a ton of pace. Right now, I think him and Michael Reed are probably the 2 guys to keep an eye on, but obviously you've got Burns back there. You've got Dakota Floyd. Did he get his lap back here, Bradley?
I believe so. The 57 back on the lead lap, but he'll be restarting from the 16th position as the pace car pulls off for the 4th time here today from Charlotte. Ritchie and Reed, the front row, and wheel spin for the 91. Major wheel spin.
Michael Call helped him out there. Definitely big wheel spin. Everybody kept it clean, though. Nice to see.
And we'll restart here on lap 71, just shy of the halfway mark from Charlotte, the 3rd to last race of the season. And it's a cluster of trucks from 6th place on back.
And Travis Gilbert takes a move to the lead on the bottom as well. I'm not sure that's going to work out for him. These guys are all over the place back here in the middle of the pack, though, Bradley.
Side by side with Jeremy Burns. Michael Call, 4th position up for grabs. Trevor Keith, Caleb Gilbert just behind him for 6th. 54 has had a quiet night. He actually got pinned a lap down because of that strategy. Now he finds himself in a scenario to get a top 5.
It's a very Caleb Gilbert kind of race. You know, get into some trouble early, slowly claw your way back in. The good news for him is that this is the longest race of the season here in the trucks. Gives him time to work his way back up here. Now he's got himself working on a top 5 here.
Outside of the 3 of Michael Call. Call led some laps. Justin Ritchie going to lead some now as he got around the 91 because of that restart. And it was just such a check up there. We talk about older tires, but these guys that just came down pit road, they were on cold tires. And maybe wheel spin on this surface. We haven't talked about the weather. And it's 71 degrees. That's mighty cold if you wanted to go to Charlotte Motor Speedway. But let's be honest, if you live... Oh, man, contact with the 19.
Nice save out of Michael Call there in the 3. Alex Berube was trying to push his way down in the corner and Call kind of with the late move to the bottom. Glad they got it sorted out, though. Everybody keeps on going.
The main recovery that most of the people viewing here tonight are concerned with. Jeremy Burns now finds his way back to the top 5. We're also talking about the 57 of Floyd. He's only gained 1 spot since this restart. But these are 2 trucks that we were mentioning just a moment ago that led the first stage of this race. The stage win goes to the 72, but he didn't have enough fuel to make it back around this racetrack. So the gamble did not pay off, put him deep in this field. And if we didn't have that caution, Rob, he probably wouldn't be back up here.
Yeah, that was interesting too. I actually went and took a look at the Truck Series rule book here, and as someone who's not an expert on all of the Truck Series rules, but just took a gander through there, I didn't see any rule against getting assistance from another truck on the track. There was always a chance I may have missed something there, but I believe that was a legal move that we saw there. I'm interested to see what they say there. Call's losing it back here. Another great save out of him, but big checkup behind him. This is going to get ugly.
3 wide through the quad.
They made it work so far.
Schaefer's low. Man, these guys are being very cordial and courteous. That could have went wrong in so many ways. We had a storm of trucks. Call has went from the top 3 back to 10. Barely hanging on to this truck. He tagged the apron. Back on a replay. Did he have help? He had a lot of help.
Oh, yeah, just a disagreement over where they're getting out of the throttle. Obviously, here at this racetrack, you're not using brake down into that corner, but you will kind of breathe out of the throttle a little bit, getting into the corner. Michael Call, obviously, out of the throttle more and sooner than Tyler Harrison was there, and a little contact made.
Here's the checkup, and you're going to see a fender fly off of the truck. It was a 21.
Kind of falls in his lap there, Bradley.
They're still battling out. Nick Alves is having a tough time. He's trying to get around. I believe that was Comer there that they just made some contact. Comer lost that fender, and that truck.
Oh, man.
Ill handling.
Oh, there he goes.
Save again? 21 saves it somehow.
He's getting beat up out here, man. He's going through it right now, but he's got the truck straight. Nobody around him. He can get the tires cooled off a little bit. Just hang on for the next pit stop. Try to get that damage repaired.
Reed took back over the top position, and Justin Ritchie falls back to third as Travis Gilbert will go by on the outside. You got Trevor Keith, Jeremy Burns, the top 5. Keith looks to the bottom of the 6 truck. They're working past him, and very difficult when you get this clean air, and that's another thing with this truck. It's so difficult to gauge if you're over driving it, as we see a pass for the lead. Here comes Travis Gilbert looking for another win here in the Truck Series. Down to the bottom of Michael Reed. With 3 races left in the regular season, you'd like to see another driver get their first win. We don't have any other multi-time winners either, so that could be a first as well, as we're side by side for the top spot.
I really like this battle for the win, or for the lead rather, right here, right now with these two. Michael Reed, Travis Gilbert, these are 2 guys who have no problem establishing what they want to do, where they're going to be, and let the other guy decide how aggressive they want to race it. You know, these are 2 guys that aren't going to back down. This should be a really good battle for the lead here. And right behind these guys, you have Trevor Keith. This is the highest up he's run all race. Is this track position, or is he finally getting to the front with that long run pace? We're about to find out with these guys battling ahead of him.
Back on board here with Trevor Keith as we throw his camera back on there. Driver Cam live. Of course, KSX Graphics sponsoring the pit barrels all season in the Trucks and Cup Series, but also the main title sponsor of the longest race of the season. And Trevor Keith, he's had some up and down moments in both series, but this one right now, I think for the 15, this looks like this is raw pace. He's figured it out. He's starting to catch up to these leaders battling.
Block out a Reed there on corner exit. Block Travis Gilbert down to the grass. Just try not to let him underneath. We'll see how long Travis puts up with that stuff. He's going to have another run down here on the back straightaway, Bradley.
He's going to use that run to push Reed into the entry of 3, maybe make him use his stuff up. It's the psychological aspect. It's a chess match at 180 miles per hour in the longest race of the season. Michael Reed, Gilbert, Keith, Burns, and Caleb Gilbert back in 5th position as you see a dive to the inside. Another attempt at the lead. It is so tough to clear, though. You have that entry speed with the 22 you saw right there into turn 1, but coming off of turn 2, Michael Reed is just able to drive away from Gilbert.
Yeah, Reed is doing a really good job of just keeping Travis from getting to his right side. It's difficult to complete the pass on the bottom here, especially as you continue on in the run. With that said, though, I do like the top more in 3 and 4 in the truck than I do in 1 and 2. It just seems to carry the momentum a little bit better down there in 3 and 4. So can probably continue to see these guys battling over who's going to have the preferred lane down in these corners. Lots of blocking coming from that.
And your pole sitter has worked his way back to 10th. Here's Dakota Floyd going by Michael Call just a moment ago. Thankful he got back on the lead lap. We were talking about how he is winless this season. It's still a long and bumpy road if he wants to get back to that top spot. But again, back side by side for that top position and using up all of the racetrack. Sideways for the 91. 22 goes low. 15 to the outside, second position. Not where Travis Gilbert probably wanted to be after all that, but he'll send it into turn 3 to cancel it out.
Big crossover move from TK there. He wanted to go to the bottom, but Travis's truck was there. Now he's going to take it to the top. We suddenly have a 3-horse, maybe a 4-horse race here for the lead with Jeremy Burns suddenly in the picture.
And now on board with Jeremy Burns. He hasn't been at the lead outside of that end of stage 1. He got trapped because of running out of fuel. But somehow, some way, the 72 always finds a way to capitalize when the points are on the line. And now, as we approach the end of this race, 88 laps completed, Jeremy Burns back into the top 5, working on Trevor Keith.
These are my favorite kind of races right here, Bradley, because it feels like Travis Gilbert's faster than Michael Reed right now, but Trevor Keith is faster than Travis Gilbert and Michael Reed. And there's always a possibility that Jeremy Burns is faster than all 3 of them. So it's kind of a battle of who can get through the guy in front of them before everybody else. And as we're seeing here, kind of feels like Michael Reed is dragging all of these guys back to the rest of the field here. Alex Forget is now right on the back bumper of Jeremy Burns as we get down into turn number 1 and 2 here.
Yeah, just behind him, you have Caleb Gilbert in the 6th position. So 6 cars starting to compete for that lead. Justin Ritchie, who fell back to 7th last time by, he was starting to match lap times again with the top 5. It's one of those things where comers and goers. In the longest race of the season, you're going to see a lot of that here. And this racetrack has been pretty much the same for over 2 decades. They haven't changed a lot. The banking's been the same. It's kind of set the template for everywhere we go. And again, double down on the fact that it is the first racetrack you get on the iRacing service. If you're interested in oval racing, again, you can check out iRacing.com. And promo code down in the description helps us out here at Vspeed. Side by side for the 3rd position, Trevor Keith, Jeremy Burns. High line there for the Ingenuity 72.
And Jeremy finally got to the outside here. I think he'll complete the pass off of turn 2. Again, it's so difficult to pass on the bottom, and you burn your tires up doing so because you just have to send it into the corners so hard. It's kind of that middle and higher lane that you want to be in if you're in a battle. You know, the bottom is still best if you're single file, but you know, getting up through here is going to be incredibly difficult. We've seen Travis Gilbert here. It seemed like he had the pace, but maybe he's burned his tires off a little bit. Maybe he's just cooling them off, seeing if he can get another run at him.
Jackson McGeorge is going to peel it down pit road. This is 23 laps on the stint here for McGeorge. He started in 6th position. He's going to pit from somewhere around 14th. And with the cautions, the strategy, the way everything has fallen, he's been outside the top 10 for a minute. But maybe a scheduled stop here. This might force the hand of the rest of this field to come in and pit. I know with the fuel strategy, this is probably going to be a 2-stopper.
Yeah, I believe so as well. This is where I wish I just had a little more experience here in this truck series, Bradley, because I could probably tell you exactly what the situation is, but you know, I could always go and see if I can get a little information off pit road for you and see if we can figure out kind of what the strategies are looking like right now here as well.
The last chat that I had with anybody was with Dakota Floyd, Justin Ritchie, and they said it was going to be somewhere around 34 and a half laps. Then we had that caution on lap 1. These guys tried to stretch it out, and that's why you saw everybody run out of fuel there that was in the top 3. I mean, these guys had to push back around the racetrack. You had a few that came in during the green flag. You had some that came down during that caution to top off with fuel. But if you were in the top 5, you did not want to give up that track position, and for a good reason. You can see how difficult it is to pass now for Jeremy Burns on the bottom. He's going to end up losing a position here with Alex Forget getting to his outside. A tag on the safer barrier that might bail him out. I don't think it's going to be enough, as Alex Forget will look for third.
He's got that thing powered up off of 2. He has the draft down the straightaway. I think that's going to be it for that position for Jeremy Burns. And now it's Alex Forget's turn to see if he can find a way around Travis Gilbert.
Nobody's been able to do so. That's allowed Michael Reed to pull a 5/10, half a second lead, as Alex Forget will get to the inside of the 22 through the quad oval. Can he carry this? He'll push him up the racetrack a little bit. A send here from the 19. It's not going to be enough. Gilbert will stay to the outside. He gets loose off a 2, but they're going to stay door to door down the backstretch.
Not to make mountains out of molehills, but in the last Cup Series race, these two guys got together on lap 1. I don't think either one was very happy about it, Bradley.
A lot of history between the 19 and the 22. He's not quite clear. We're looking 3 wide into 1. Burns backs out of it.
Burns wanted to get that outside.
There's a pinch there on the 1. I thought the 22 was going to make contact. That would have been a bad place to do it.
Now Burns is going to try to push the teammate down the back straightaway and trying to at least get him clear. I'm not sure that's going to work down here in 3 and 4 where the top is a little bit better. He might clear him. He's got him now.
Change for second officially now, as Jeremy Burns will go back on offense to the inside of Travis Gilbert. Michael Reed 7/10 ahead now. Does Alex Forget have his opportunity? We were talking about multi-time winners, and we'll bring those points back up on the screen for a brief moment here. But it's 6 wins with Burns, 1 with Thorpe, Forget, Reed, Keith, and Turner. But look at the dominant performance from Jeremy Burns compared to the other drivers that just have 1 win. Every time we have an off week for Jeremy Burns, somebody else finds their way to victory lane. And then outside of that, if he's on point, he's on point. This race tonight could be another one of those where Jeremy Burns just is a little bit off, and it's just enough for somebody to find their way there to win this race.
Yeah, Jeremy has this way of always being quick, but even when he's not the fastest car, he still puts himself in position so that if other things happen, if other people make mistakes, he can capitalize on it. It's something that ever since Jeremy first joined Racing Revolution and I started working with him, that we've discussed a lot and that he's gotten a lot better at. And he's, one of the top guys in Racing Revolution because of that. A lot of times he's flat out the fastest truck or car there, don't get me wrong, but even when he's not, he finds a way to win. That's why he has 6 wins this season. Everybody else has 1 out here. And that's why, even though he's in 3rd and he might be fading a little bit at this moment, you can't count him out of the race at all.
A guy that had a lot of success at the road courses that we've been to is currently running in the 10th position, riding on board with Cody Anderson. He has Ryan Comer 7 seconds back, and he's working on Christopher Schaefer for the 9th spot. Cody Anderson started in 11th, 1 position gain. Anderson, another one of those drivers, winless this season, but he came really close when we went to Chicago Street Course. He got close again at the next road course. This guy definitely would like to see us just go to a GT3 series. He's been phenomenal on the truck when it comes to turning left and right. He'll come down pit road this time by.
Nice entry to pit road, too. Charlotte can be a little tricky. It sneaks up on you if you're not ready for it. Really nice job there coming to pit road.
Well, I think we reminded everybody here, Rob, because the race is sponsored by KSX and they've been sponsoring those pit barrels. I think everybody's a little bit weary. I don't know if you get a prize for hitting the pit barrels tonight.
You
KSX,
don't.
No.
You don't want to win that award. I can tell you right now. Trevor Keith and KSX Graphics, those guys, man, they keep track. We have I think Trevor Keith has a vehicle with a paint scheme on it that just keeps track of everyone who's hit the barrels. So Not something you want to be known for around here, but it's happened to all of us. I know I've caught it, not in a race before, I don't think, but I have caught it in practice on several occasions. And even then I feel embarrassed about it. So you don't want to be that guy tonight, for sure.
Rob, I'm seeing something interesting happen right now. We're approaching 40 laps to go, and that's just about the window that we saw that stage where Jeremy Burns was able to make it. These guys can make it to 40 to go. It'll be a one-stopper for them. And you're seeing the commitment here from Alex Forget, Nick Alves, Grant Turner. A lot of these trucks still out on the racetrack, maybe saving from the very beginning of this run. A lot of saving going on as the 15 will go by. Quite a few trucks came down pit road. There's Tyler Harrison, who's made his pit stop. Justin Ritchie out of pit road. There's the 57 of Dakota Floyd exiting his stall as well. The window of opportunity here to play this strategy. When you make these races longer, it gives more opportunity to some of these cars, especially when it goes green on the clutch for Forget.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go walk pit road here real quick, Bradley, see if I can talk to a couple crew chiefs and see what the game plan is, see if anybody thinks that they can stretch it from here. And I'll find it in a minute.
Alrighty, so Rob Rader going to walk down pit road, try to figure out what the window of opportunity is for these guys. And you heard the clutch pedal there from the 19. Definitely in a scenario, if he can extend this 3 more laps, that will prove that he can make it on fuel, but the caution is out. That's going to throw it out the window. Michael Reed is around on the backstretch. Everything up for grabs now at Charlotte. This is going to fit strangely into a weird 40 lap to go scenario. Back on the replay, he's sideways. He gets across the nose of Nick Alves. Alves goes down to the inside wall and tags it again. Nowhere for Alves to go as Reed got loose. Reed's coming up on the racetrack, sideways across the nose, just out of nowhere. And KLD has a new customer.
Yeah, that thing is KLD. That thing is killed.
So on pit road here with Nick Alves, and I don't know what information you gathered for me, but you went down there and walked pit road, and as soon as you mentioned it to any crew chief, it got thrown off to the side of the pit box. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, I didn't even get the question out, and then all of a sudden I started hearing all types of things I cannot repeat on Vspeed, because I know some of these guys were trying to stretch it far enough. Even then, they weren't sure they were going to make it. But the word that I've gotten is that you can get about 37 laps on fuel, which means that even with this pit stop here, we're going to be just a little bit outside the fuel window. It sounded to me like some people think they might be able to stretch it, but you kind of have to throw away your opportunity to win the race if there's a caution in order to do so, because you're going to have to save a whole lot in order to make it happen. So this can get it really interesting from here.
Well, we still have plenty of racing left to be done as Alex Forget will come back out as the leader. Don't go anywhere. The Coastal Financial Truck Series presented by Racing Revolution and the KSX Pit Barrels 225 from Charlotte will continue right after this.
The victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite sims.
Back here live where Grant Turner, Trevor Keith have taken over the top row, and we were just talking about the fuel strategy and how these drivers could make it on fuel if they really stretched it. 37 laps is the window, and we're at 39 to go as we took the green flag. Side by side for third position, Tyler Harris and Trevor Keith. It doesn't mean anything though, Rob, if we don't stay green.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing to look for here. And with the types of battles we've seen mid-pack, hell, even at the front of the race, there's no guarantee that we go green from here. But I do know there is a mixed bag strategy. We'll see how it plays out. But if I'm these guys, I'm not sure I can commit myself to trying to save fuel for 40 laps when I know that we have to go green for 40 laps. I mean, at some point you have to go race, and that's what I expect to see here. It's we're three wide.
We're seeing it. We're seeing the racing right here. Harrison sideways.
Harrison, hang on to it.
Saving it. Off of 4, he somehow keeps that truck straight, but he's going to lose 2 or 3 spots. Here comes Jackson McGeorge back to the top 5. 3 wide again through 1 and 2.
Great save by Harrison, but absolutely no opportunity to gather it up and get recollected because you're 3 wide in the middle. Fantastic job to hang on to that. Here comes Michael Reed for second as well.
And Reed actually in the 91 trying to chase down there on the machine just in front, but he is a lap down. So for Michael Reed, this is a scenario of coming down pit road, getting trapped a lap down. He's just trying to get back on the lead lap now.
I'm surprised I'll have to see where he restarted then. It's kind of an interesting spot to end up in so quick after a restart, but regardless.
Yeah, we only had double file for like 5 positions there.
Yeah, well, the greatest restart of his life, and he hasn't picked up a spot yet, but this is boding well for him as he's looking to get himself back on the lead lap the old school way here past Caleb Gilbert into turn 1.
Talking about first-time winners, this race really has fit that wheelhouse, and who's going to gamble, who's going to pull the strategy and save. It's stay green since we went back on lap 111, 91, really battling hard for that lead lap, but I don't think this is the fight he wants right now. I think if you're Michael Reed, you have to commit to that 40-lap run, race this thing out in the hopes that nobody else can do it.
Yeah, if I were Michael Reed in this situation, I kind of like what you're saying here. You can kind of put yourself on a different strategy or a different plan here, but I'm not sure where the next nearest car lap down is, but it's not going to be anywhere near him right now. So he's kind of got a guaranteed lucky dog happening as well with where he's at the moment.
Parker Johnston would be the next car a lap down as he'll go to the inside. And 7, Grant Turner was on the front row, has fallen all the way back to 10th, but you got to wonder if the 7 is in save mode. 72 will go around. Jeremy Burns up to 8th. Christopher Schaefer, what a shake-up here for this entire field as we commit to what could be the last pit stop of the day, the last restart of the day, and the last run to the checkered flag. We still have green-white checkers, so peek to the inside. Gilbert's going to close the door on Dakota Floyd for 5th spot.
Yeah, and these turns here at Charlotte, they're so inviting to do that too. It's especially in the trucks. You can dive in the corner so hard and it just sticks so well that you can kind of enter in the middle and wait to see where that guy wants to go and then close them off like Travis did there. It was a pretty nice move.
The side-by-side starts back up for the 4th position, Jackson McGeorge. There was Justin Ritchie getting to 3rd. What a send to the bottom of the racetrack. I think the 6 got a little bit loose and scrubbed some of that speed. That allowed McGeorge back to the inside. He didn't really I don't think he predicted to do that. I don't think he was trying to get back to third spot with a crossover. But for Justin Ritchie, it's just been an up and down day. This track continues to cool off here. 72 degrees, 67 in the air. Your stage winner, Jeremy Burns, with 4 cautions, 11 lead changes. Here from Charlotte. And here recently, we've had some drivers that haven't got a win this season, finding their way up front.
And this is an awesome run for Jackson, too. I mean, he always has pace in the Truck Series races, especially, it seems. But this is an awesome run. I mean, it kind of feels like he can go up here and give Keith and Gilbert a battle.
And I don't know if you've been paying attention to the chat, but we have a self-proclaimed chat favorite.
I did see that.
Yeah, Terry Hudgens getting some flack there last week.
Yeah, well, it's good he self-proclaimed it. I don't think anyone else was going to stand up and say it for him, but we appreciate Terry tuning in every week for sure.
For sure, and certainly everybody here that supports Jeremy Burns and Reed and Thorpe and all of these guys that race on this circuit full season in both the Cup and the Truck Series. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so. And I also want to add to that, Adam Bacon was in the chat just a moment ago. That's Vspeed's founder, the guy that created it all. Good to have him in here. He tunes in from time to time to check in, make sure that I'm doing everything correctly. And I think we're on the right page now that I have you up in the booth with me, Rob. It's been fantastic to have you cover this race. Longest race of the season. And we have seen so many shakeups. It's hard for a solo guy to keep up with everything going on.
I'm still trying to figure it out. But before I forget, one person we didn't mention from chat, John Putney, shouted out Harrison as well. And I think we just missed him. But I think we got everybody else in there. So
there's the Adam Studios 45, currently in the 9th position. He's had top 3 speed, but with the different strategies, maybe Harrison committed to saving the fuel, go off the throttle. Don't hear the clutch pedal from anybody in particular. These guys might be committed to splitting this run halfway. And it's a tough call here, Rob, to decide. Do you want to go that full 40? It looks like Richie is going to decide for me right here. He's on the halfway split. And then 25 laps in, he's 19 on the stint. He can make it to the end of this race with this pit stop.
I mean, it's a bold move, but if you need to win a race, this is potentially a race-winning move. Come down here, put 4 tires on it, put just enough fuel in it to know that you can get into the finish of the race, even if you have a couple of green-white checkers. But, I mean, it's definitely a bit of a Hail Mary. I think it's a difficult position to be in because if we do get a caution, you've kind of thrown away your opportunity at winning this race. With that said, though, we have seen him short pit or pit earlier than the rest, I guess I should say. A lot of these guys have been running long.
Yeah.
And it's worked for him so far. Yeah, so I can't really blame him for being married to that strategy, and we'll have to see how it turns out here.
Caleb Gilbert also working his own strategy as he is drafting with the now on the lead lap machine of Michael Reed in the 91 just in front of him. And they have pulled away Christopher Schaefer way ahead of this field as well. It's Travis Gilbert back here battling with the 48 machine. That was the car that the 91 was trying to escape from. Parker Johnson, technically the lucky pass position right now as it sits. Because the 91 is back on the lead lap. More cars coming down pit road. There's Tyler Harrison, the 15, and Trevor Keith. I don't think anybody is committed to this long run strategy. Christopher Schaefer, did he start clutching from the start of this run on board with the 23?
I'm not sure what Schaefer's strategy is, but based on where he was running compared to those other guys, I'm guessing that he's been in go mode here since the green dropped. But one person that did tell me explicitly to keep an eye on them because they were going to try to stretch this thing long, Alex Forget-Berube back there in the 4th position in that 19 truck. And I'd have to imagine that some of these guys that are running back there with him, perhaps Grant Turner or Comer or Call, maybe on the same strategy.
Well, and I can tell you this, Alex Forget was already committed to that once, so he's double committed to seeing how far he can stretch this out. I don't blame him. I mean, he found himself up front because of that, and the ability he was going to make it. I think he was genuinely going to go that full 40 laps, and we were at lap 111 when we went back green. Now coming up on lap 130, this is going to be about a half a lap shorter, and with that caution falling the way it did, we're staying green right now. Again, a caution would throw this strategy out the window, but the 19 could find his way to victory lane a second time this season. Christopher Schaefer absolutely has that opportunity, but like you said, it doesn't seem like he's in save mode at all. I don't like his odds at all.
To be fair to Schaefer, too, I mean, this is a solid strategy. When nobody else wants to go, everyone wants to pit. If he gets a caution right now, he's in an excellent position to either win the race or have a great finish in this race. And the longer it goes, as long as he doesn't have to pit, that still bodes well for him in the position that he's in. So I think he's doing a great job of putting himself in position, the best position he can for the end of this race. I think that Richie, some of those guys who decided to split that in half and take tires, they've made a great decision for their race. And then you have people like Alex who are trying to stretch this thing, making a great decision for their race. So we kind of have three distinct different strategies, and depending on how things play out, I mean, I couldn't tell you who's going to win this race at this point, and that's pretty exciting.
Statistically, right now with the odds, I'm going to go with Caleb Gilbert. He had stretched the lead out massively there, and it come down pit road. He has a couple cars ahead of him here, though, with Michael Reed staying out on the racetrack. We're going to keep an eye on him. Dakota Floyd, also another one of those trucks that has kind of stretched this run and kind of done a weird strategy. But for Dakota Floyd to get ahead of the 54, based off of his speed at the beginning of this race, I think Dakota Floyd has a chance at winning this, even after everything he's had happen to him tonight.
Well, I'm interested to see what Caleb Gilbert's plan has been. You know, I'll tell you, Caleb Gilbert, one of the guys who's always a proponent of taking two tires. It seems anytime I'm running a race with this guy, hey, we have a yellow flag, I'm unsure, you know, do I take none? Do I take two? Do I take four? Caleb's always, I'm taking two every single time, right away. So I'm interested to know if he decided to take 4 tires or two in this. Okay, so I'd imagine that perhaps Floyd took none, or maybe also took 2. Hard to say with so much happening there, but
he took 2.
Not surprised to hear that Caleb Gilbert is on 2 tires here. Will they hold on for another 15 laps?
Yeah, you're going to save about 4 seconds on pit road by doing so. 9.1 in the box for Dakota Floyd.
Oh, he's on the wall here.
That's starting to feel the handling of 2 tires for Caleb Gilbert as he comes off of turn 2, tags that safer barrier. Minimal, if anything, on the damage there. He is chasing down. He knows the lead is right in front of him. That is the lead right there if they cycle through. These guys ahead of him that are still out on the racetrack with Schaefer, Gilbert, Travis Gilbert, Grant Turner, Alex Forget, Ryan Comer. Then you have Michael Call and Michael Reed still out there on the racetrack. Michael Reed most likely going to have to bring it down pit road as he was a lap down. He's stayed out there for quite some time. He'll be the next position as they go to the outside.
Yeah, talking about how long are those 2 tires going to be good, or how good are they going to be? Not exactly a great sign to be beating the wall down here 2 corners in a row, but maybe it's just getting things figured out. You know, a lot of times you put those right side tires on, it kind of affects the balance of the truck. So I believe Caleb will probably get it figured out, but you know, if Forget can run this thing to the end, even if he has to back it off quite a bit, I don't think Caleb on 2 tires or Floyd on 2 tires is going to have an opportunity to get up there and take it from him if he can make it. That's where 4 tires would have been more interesting for that aspect of things. But again, that's assuming Alex can make it, and we're asking a lot out of these guys to stretch it 3 extra laps.
138 underway. Christopher Schaefer continues to lead, but because he's not on the clutch pedal, I would project him to come down pit road within the next 5 laps, as we are now 31 laps on the stint.
And I did not mean to sell Grant Turner short there. I didn't realize he was right there in front of Alex. He is actually the leader of that strategy right now, trying to stretch it to the end.
That's your winner at Atlanta by 100th of a second. He is locked
Turner,
in.
He finds ways to win races in very unique fashion. You know, here on a 3 different strategy type of race, stretch and fuel to the end would be very Grant Turner-esque. It'd be very cool to see if he can pull that one off tonight.
You know what? I think we need to. There we go.
Everybody's favorite camera.
Let's see the clutch pedal. He's got his left foot resting on it. He's ready to push it into one. There it is.
Yep. So he's on that clutch pedal on entry, and that's a really difficult balance to figure out here. Actually, you know, it's not quite the same. Yeah. So you have no engine braking, but you also have no throttle in the truck, and so it behaves differently than, you know, just being out of the gas. It actually takes me anyway a few laps to get in the rhythm of how to really pull that off. It's not as easy as it looks to do while maintaining some decent pace, for sure.
Staying ahead of Alex Forget, who's also in his draft wake in the 19. Trevor Keith will go by on the outside of Michael Call. Ryan Comer will come down pit road. He is now committed to the weird section of this half and half split. I think some of these guys are finding out that you can't make it, because they'll top off with fuel and be down and away.
Yeah, we were talking about the different strategies. One strategy that I can guarantee you is not going to win the race is coming down with 8 laps to go and filling it fuel only. Unfortunately for him, that's probably the end of his chances at winning tonight. But you know, sometimes you try to save and you realize it's just kind of a fruitless battle. You're not going to make the number, and if you're not going to make it, come down, fill it with fuel, and, you know, hope for a caution.
Battle here between Dakota Floyd, Justin Ritchie. Floyd a little bit of an advantage on tires, but a dive to the inside through 3 and 4. 6 car holds it down on the bottom. Doesn't have the run off the corner. Jackson McGeorge now going to go on offense into turns 1 and 2. He'll go to the bottom to try to take away the 7th position. Trevor Keith, the last of these guys that are on that half split. And you have Caleb Gilbert just ahead of him. Actually,
I believe Forget just passed Grant Turner to take the lead of that strategy as well. Decided it was time to go. Maybe he's hit his number and feels confident he can make it to the finish now. Schaefer's still out here going strong too. I wonder.
He's coming down. There he comes.
Yeah, seeing him come down 6 laps short, I mean, there's really no reason for him to come now instead of running it basically out. So that really has me concerned about whether either one of these 2 trucks are able to make it to the finish on fuel, regardless of how much they've been saving. That's asking a lot if you're talking about 5 or 6 laps instead of just 3 laps.
Well, you'll know when that 7 truck is in the green, because he's going to go on offense. Here he goes, drafting up down the back stretch. Gets right to the rear bumper of Alex Forget. Forget off of turns 3 and 4. 5 laps to go from Charlotte, the longest race of the regular season. 19 on point with 1/10 separating him and Grant Turner. We're looking at a repeat winner. Will it be the 19 or the 7 as it sits right now? I think the 7 wants it, coming off of 2.
And you got to wonder, are these guys pushing each other into using more fuel than they need to? Kind of looks like Alex lets him by. He says, well, I'll just save a little more behind him for now, I guess, if he wants to push. But are these guys pushing each other into using more fuel than they need to? Are they going to run themselves out of fuel here?
If you could coast it around, the lead to Caleb Gilbert is 9.5 seconds. So even if you came off at turn 4 out of fuel, you can make it. You could probably run out right here at turn 3 and coast around this place enough. Man, this is interesting, Rob. This is a find in prime time to come up here into the broadcast booth. 3 laps to go. Grant Turner with the lead.
Didn't know I was signing up for a barn burner tonight, Bradley, but right now there's a whole lot happening.
And it continues to happen with 2 laps, 2.5, side by side. Even with limited fuel, they're going to battle for the lead. Grant Turner both on the clutch pedal for Berube to the outside, back to the throttle pedal. He'll take back the top spot on the outside. 0.06 of a second for that lap lead. 2 to go. Can they make it here, Rob? I got to ask one more time before we go for the white flag. Can they actually make it?
Well, I think they are, but I'm still really concerned about it. I mean, these guys kind of just let each other by. It looks like they're going to go hard now, but I'm more concerned about the 7. It seems like he's still really trying to save fuel. The 19 seems like his strategy is get as far down the track as you can, and if you run out of fuel, you hope you make it to the line.
White flag presented by Earhart Holmes, and Alex Forget Berube just has a mile left here at Charlotte. On the fuel strategy, he told you to look out for him. He was committed. He doubled down on it. And the Maxi,
I think he's out.
Toyota, he's ran out.
Is he out?
To the outside.
He is out. They're both
Here he
out.
comes.
They're both out.
It's Grant Turner.
I think Turner got
by 0.05 of a second out of fuel.
They both run out of fuel and they drag race. Well, can you call it a drag race if you don't have any fuel left in the car, Bradley?
That's 2 of them for Turner. He can't believe it.
What a finish.
Winner here tonight from Charlotte, across the line by 0.05 of a second. Grant Turner coasts his way to victory lane.
I told you this was a Grant Turner type of race. He only wins in interesting ways, and he's done it again tonight.
Out of fuel for both of the top 2 finishers. Caleb Gilbert, he was trying his best. He came in and topped off of fuel, took 2 tires. Your pole sitter finishes in 7th, and the chat favorite in 8th. Grant Turner in the 3rd to last race just before this bye week finds victory lane. 2 hands up.
I always love how much Grant Turner gets into these things, man. Every time he wins a race, he's just over the moon, and just love to see it.
Let's take it back on an instant replay. We're not going to see a post-race celebration, so.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. We're going to go in slow motion from, this is where he runs out of fuel. This is actually the white flag
it's
here.
Just 1 to go here, yeah. They both ran out of fuel at almost the same time. So Grant Turner, I think, actually saved slightly more fuel.
By
and
what?
so
A 1,000th of a gallon.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a 1/4 second after Alex runs out here off 4. It's just enough to propel him by on the outside before they get to the line here. Right there, he's shut off.
It was a sputter. Okay, I can't do this justice. This is so close. Here we go. We're gonna have to pause this. We're gonna go on board with the 19. You're gonna watch the RPMs here. You're gonna watch it run out of fuel as it flattens out, and it completely runs out.
Yeah, it happens right there, right as he gets into the restart zone. It looks like it's actually later than I thought it was.
And then you're going to go back here with the 7 on a replay and watch this truck. Just
like rock.
Yeah, just enough.
Well, how's that? Is that a new one for Vspeed?
I think that's
the photo
a new
finish out of fuel. That's a new one.
Yep, Vspeed top 10 for sure.
Great race. Couldn't ask for more.
Congratulations to Grant Turner on a 2nd victory of the season. He got 1 at Atlanta. Now the fuel strategy at Charlotte in the longest race post-race interviews with your top three. We're going to bring up your winner right now, though. I don't know who you want to interview, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab him right now. In the studio, we have your race winner, Grant Turner, in the number 7. I don't think I've ever seen it. You guys coasting to the finish line, both out of fuel, and Vspeed is definitely going to have a short for this one.
Oh, yeah.
So
for the
Grant,
record,
what?
0.04
0.04
gallons I had left at the line, sputtering.
So you came out on the white flag with less than a half a lap of fuel, and somehow you guys both coasted back to the finish of this race. We all knew, me and Rob had come up and talked about the strategy, but we had that caution fall right around 43 to go. You go back green with 39 left, and you had to stretch it a whole 2 laps, and even then that wasn't enough.
Yeah, I had to drop like a rocket starting at front row of that.
Well, and on top of that, Grant, you go back to the fact that if a caution comes out, it doesn't mean anything. You guys had committed to that up front. You had signed your contract, and if any deviation happens, you break that terms of service. You have to come down pit road during that yellow.
Yeah, it's either I run out of fuel on the final lap or I finish the race.
Well, outside of all the things that we talked about prior to that, you started in 16th. You led 6 laps. Most importantly, you lead the last one by 5/100ths of a second. Disbelief coming off of turn 4 as Alex Forget hits the flat spot of the quad oval. He runs out about a millisecond before you do, and it's just enough horsepower as you're probably on that pedal cam working every pedal you can to get around him.
Oh yeah. I knew both of us were going to have to sputter at the line. It was just going to be a battle of who saved that tiny little drop more.
Well, powered by ethanol, I think some tech inspection for both these trucks post race is warranted to see if anybody had some extra in the fuel rail. Grant, you add yourself as a multi-time winner here in the Truck Series. After that victory at Atlanta, now you pull the strategy. Not only did you outdraft him, but you outwitted him this season. Anybody you want to shout out?
I want to thank everyone here at Vspeed and Rob I was listening on the broadcast the entire time, how he was talking about if it's a crazy finish, I'm there.
Speaking of that, Grant, I got a question for you. Have you ever considered just winning a normal race, just run out there, be in the fastest truck, and just winning the race without anything wild happening, or is that just not your style?
Apparently, it's not my style.
I'm
the wild card. But again, want to thank you guys there at Vspeed, all the sponsors of the league itself for putting on this great of a show. Want to thank Splash and Go Graphics for this paint job on the truck, and want to thank GamerSups for giving me the energy to do these races. I needed it for this one.
Grant, spectacular fashion. I think was the terminology that Rob Rader used to describe how you win these races, and nothing short of that. For certain, we're going to go back and review this. We're going to come up with some way to make this a more memorable moment. And, you had so many people out here watching. We appreciate you coming up here in the booth with us. Congratulations on the victory. 2 races left as we hit that bye week. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
See you in 2 weeks. And again, second race winning. Wish I could do a burnout for you, but have to wait for another time.
All right. Well, you could try that strategy Rob mentioned, and maybe.
Yeah, we'll work on that. We'll work on that.
Well, there you go. Your race winner, Grant Turner, in the number 7, and he's going to join himself into the list of limited drivers. It is 2 different drivers that have multi-wins of more than 2 races. and Grant Turner is going to help himself into these playoffs with that victory. The fireworks are still going off here as we go to our static camera. Well, I guess they just ran out of them. The budget here, I think they took all that money for fireworks and put it into race fuel to make sure that 7 car could make it across that start finish line. But don't go anywhere. We have more post-race coverage of this event. From Charlotte, you are watching the Coastal Finance.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With Jonathan Parker, he locked it up in the end of stage 1. Jonathan Parker, our season 5 champion. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams. Back here live at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the longest race of the season. We've well established that as they didn't even have enough fuel to come across the start-finish line. And the winner here tonight, Grant Turner, his second one of the season. Stage winner Jeremy Burns, he ran out of fuel during that caution. To get back to pit road, he had to have help from the 91. And the race recap on the top of your screen, 16 lead changes. No one had a clue. And Rob Rader picked a fine time to join us here on Vspeed. Final race results on your screen. There's the top 3. We'll get a word with them in just a moment as Alex Forget ran out of fuel in 5/100ths of a second in a Vspeed top 10. I think it's going to be definitely on the YouTube in its own video with Caleb Gilbert on the other strategy. On the top of that, he'll finish in 3rd. Trevor Keith gets a 4th position finish. Jackson McGeorge, Justin Ritchie, Dakota Floyd, Jeremy Burns, Tyler Harrison, and Travis Gilbert rounding out that top 10. But man, look at how many drivers started outside of this top 5, falling or getting up to the top positions. There's just so many cars that have double digits finishing up here.
Yeah, obviously strategy was a big part of this race. You can see that when you have the pole sitter there in 7th, and then you have these guys starting 10th on back, all basically dominating the top 5, top 10 of this race.
Michael Call will finish in 11th. He led some laps here tonight. And then it's another interesting part of the fuel strategy races. Christopher Schaefer in 12th position will be a lap down. Ryan Comer, Michael Reed, a car that was dominant here tonight. He will finish in 14th. Parker Johnson never could get back to the lead lap. Grant Thorpe will finish 16th. Nick Alves with damage, 26 laps down. Early exit for him. Cody Anderson, 29 laps down. Not sure what happened to the 20 machine, but he'll finish in 18th. Kyle Diaz, we saw what happened to him in the 26. He'll finish 19th. Dustin Reinstedel was out on the racetrack here tonight in the 11. I haven't said that name. I was saying that 3 times a week there for a while, but the 11 will finish in 20th. And Chris Nail, another one of those trucks that elected not to grid, going to finish in 21st position. With that, though, it's time to get the rest of your top 3 up here in the broadcast booth. And Rob Rader of Vspeed first on a lot of different things, but your first interview in a post-race chat. Here we go with your second place finisher, Alex Forget.
Alex Forget Barube. It's your friend here, Rob Rader. I'm with Vspeed tonight, but it's nice to talk to you. Came away second. How did we end up here? Because I know you told me that you were going to just try to save from the beginning, and it looks like you came up about, 1,000 feet short?
0.05 at the line from what the timer says. I mean, that 0.05, I could have saved it everywhere on that last run. It could have been starting a little bit later on pit road and letting people by and just catching up a little bit slower and saving that there. I could have saved it more during the run before catching up to Grant. It's everywhere, anywhere. When I passed him, maybe I should have stayed behind him the entire time. Who knows? But this is one way to lose, but this is a best way to lose. This is a good lose, honestly.
I like the way that you put that, a good lose. Well, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit there, Alex, but is there any specific point that you can look at and say, that's where I made a mistake, that's where I should have saved more fuel? Is there anything that immediately comes to your mind and how you could have won this race with it being so close?
Well, again, maybe starting a little bit later on pit road because I went from leading under the caution to fill it up at the end with 1 to go. I should have maybe stayed a little bit in pit road and started a little bit later and just tried to catch up while everybody's on the back stretch instead of exiting turn 2. During the run, I tried to pass Grant at some point at the end when I thought I was already good. Maybe just try to save a little bit less and being in front of him. Maybe that was a mistake. Who knows? But hey, 0.05. It's such a little detail. It's incredible. I don't know.
Well, we appreciate the show that you guys put on. Anybody you want to thank tonight? Anybody you want to shout out?
Well, I got to thank the league for putting out those races. Amazing trucks are fun to race. Way more fun than the next gen. I don't like them, but it's still
Don't get me started.
something. Thank you to you guys, Vspeed and Rob, for doing the broadcast tonight. It was very nice. Thank you, Toyota, Maxi, SGDC, my girlfriend Jess, encouraging me every time, and everybody else watching the stream. Thank you very much. Coastal Financial too for sponsoring the trucks. Thank you.
Yeah, and a really tough way to end the race, but finishing second, he was on the right strategy. Just came up a little bit short, Bradley.
Alex Forget said it best. It is the right kind of loss here tonight. It felt good. Congratulations to him on that second place finish. And again, it goes back to 5/100ths of a second. And when you're coming across that start finish line with no power, there was no horsepower. This was essentially one of those soapbox derby cars coming off of the hill out of turn 4. These guys just coasted, and it was whoever had the most inertia across that line running out at essentially the same point there out of turn 4 onto the quad oval. I still don't quite know if there was anything Alex Forget could have done there, but maybe a clutch pedal when that thing started to sputter. I really don't know.
I don't know. I know I'm the one that asked him the question, but I'm not sure there's really a good answer to that question. You kind of just end up where you end up in that type of a scenario, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. And tonight it didn't.
Speaking of scenarios, we're going to bring up your third place finisher, a guy that was in an entirely different scenario, Caleb Gilbert in the number 54. And Caleb, you were one of those drivers that had brought it down pit road. I think 2 tires here for the 54 to finish this race out. But you find yourself on top of that second strategy. Had there been a caution, I think you would have been in a different situation, kind of similar to maybe Grant Turner, Alex Forget. But that caution never came. You were still raw pace, faster than the rest of this field, and trimmed it down. Even then, you looked like you had to save maybe a tenth or two at the very end of this race. Started to lose a little time.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where, with the way my luck's been, no matter what I did, it was going to be wrong. I knew that saving was an option, and it's pretty easy to do here. Just the natural pace with how much tire wear there is, you can do it without losing, significant time, especially only in 40 laps. Yeah, I was kind of had to make my bed and lay in it once we got that initial caution. I was kind of in a really tough spot because I've been in that situation before. Chose to save, you get the caution, you lose the race. So being up front when that happens is tough. So, it was a rough start to the race with a early caution there. I got a good bit of damage, got it all fixed, and then drove from the back to the front. And then you get some strategy, and then you lose the race on pace. So that's just the way it's been lately.
Well, on top of that, you had the scenario, like you said, with repairing damage. You were behind the 8 ball for most of this race. And then we had the flip flop because of that first caution, where a lot of drivers got pinned outside of the top 10 that were running in the top 5 to start this race. And then once you got to that scenario, what was your approach to the rest of this race? You already had to save to make it to that stage. But now you know what the truck is capable of. How do you go from there?
Yeah, it's obviously a tough decision, and got one of my teammates, Berube. He was on the other end of it, so kind of laid it down what we were going to look at. Saving was going to be tough, but easily doable. It's a risky strategy to go with, like I said, because you can lose the race. And I figured me and Burns was one of those ones that got caught on that lap down off the pit cycle. So me and him decided to go one way. Nick and Berube were going to go the other. And then Nick, if that race had gone green, Nick would have had a really good shot at winning it, just based off what I know. So that's unfortunate for him. Shout out to Nick. But yeah, it's one of those situations where you're on the line. You're kind of, like I said, with my luck, it didn't really matter. An asteroid would have hit the track in turn 3. Had those guys ran out, and then I would have lost the battle off pit road or something. So
I believe they call that a reskin here on iRacing if an asteroid hits the racetrack.
Correct. Yeah. Paint the wall something different. Yeah, it's one of those deals, man, where it's so frustrating. Like I said, and then there at the end, I took 2 tires, and 2 tires was generally the worst thing I've driven on iRacing in a really long time. It was terrible. But I knew, a TK is probably going to run it pretty hard and I can hold him off. But it was like 7-8 tenths a second at the start of the run. Felt like there was no rear in the truck. And Burns is a really talented individual. When he's talking about how it's undrivable, your hands are full. So that was a little bit of the fall off there. Maybe if I'd taken 4, I actually could have caught those guys back. But we'll never know.
Well, what we do know is that the 54 finds its way to a podium finish. And Caleb, we've had limited talks with you. It's been an up and down season, and we're coming up on the last 2. In fact, we've talked to you in the Cup Series as well during some mid-race interviews. What does it take to put this truck to victory lane and finally get that monkey off your back?
Well, it's been about a year and a couple weeks, thanks to my good friend Robert here, actually at Phoenix. I count that one.
Who's counting?
I don't know who's counting, but it is what it is. But anyways, it'll come at some point. Unfortunately, right now it seems like everything I do, if I have race winning pace, I'm gonna get wrecked on lap 2 out of my own doing, or somebody else is gonna run into me. So that's kind of been the way it is. And if I don't have pace, I work, I find speed in the track, and then by the time I'm back to where I should be, there's not enough time left. So that'll come eventually. And everybody kind of knows me as being the guy that's maybe not the fastest guy, but I'm usually pretty consistent up there. And that's how I won the truck championship in the first season. It's a little different format, I got to win at some point, but we keep biding our time.
Well, we have a off week here for Memorial Day weekend. Hope you enjoyed the time with the family, and hopefully your barbecue is as good as what I'm probably going to experience there. I got a birthday there for my son, and I got to say, Caleb, congratulations. We'll see you 2 weeks' time when we go to Kansas, but is there anybody that comes to mind to put the 54 on the racetrack tonight?
Yeah, shout out to all the teammates, Berube, Parker Johnson for joining us tonight, Mr. Jeremy Burns, and of course the one and only Nick Alves. Justice for Nick Alves. He didn't deserve to finish 27,000 laps down. Shout out to our sponsors of our league, Coastal Financial, Chapman Environmental, All About Bugs, Bug Kicker, you guys up in the booth. Shout out to Rob, the one and only, for helping out tonight. That's awesome of him. Bradley, you're here every week, and you do a fantastic job, and I appreciate everything that you do, and appreciate the league as a whole.
Thank you for the shout outs, and thank you for everybody that helped put this show on. Caleb Gilbert, third place, led 15 laps, started 10th. He'll come home with a podium finish. Help you out a little bit here in the points as we approach that postseason.
All right, appreciate y'all.
Well, Rob, we have another one. It's 2 weeks' time when we go to Kansas, and it's another 1.5 mile racetrack. Then it's Daytona, where we go super speedway racing. Old Atlanta. I got to ask, who made that call? That racetrack, it's a relic at this point.
It's going to be such a great race, though. You thought this one was good, and it was good. Definitely check out that Old Atlanta racetrack. You can run on the bottom. You can run up at the fence. Especially on the long runs, those guys in these trucks, they're going to be all over the racetrack. It still races great to this day, so looking forward to that.
Rob, I also have to ask one more question. What's in store for us this Wednesday when we go Cup Series racing?
Well, it's going to be a really long race. You're going to see a lot of similar stuff happening there. It's a 200-lap race, obviously our longest race of the Cup Series. And we're going to have a stage. We have 2 stages instead of 1. So we're going to have a stage on lap 50. We're going to have a stage at lap 100. And then we have a 100-lap run all the way to the finish of the race. I feel like you're just going to split those first 2 in half. But all it takes is one caution to kind of throw a wrench in that whole scenario. And we're going to have a lot of banged-up race cars by the end of that race. I've done a pretty good job historically there, but the competition is on a completely different level in that series this year. There's going to be a good close to a dozen guys who are going to have a chance at winning that race, depending on how things fall, Bradley. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, although I will be in the race for that one.
A lot of fun indeed. You can tune back in here for the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. Hey, I got that one out perfectly. I've been struggling with that all season long, but for Rob Rader coming up here in the booth and joining me, Adam Baker in the background, and everybody that helps put this on with Coastal Financial, this is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Charlotte. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time when we go to Kansas. Until then, everybody, stay tracking.